It's pretty obvious that we're like halfway through the season already, and with that, I think it's time to recap and look at all of the bad things, or all of the questionable, or maybe sometimes the good things that have happened in the season so far. You might be saying, but we're not even in the summer break yet. We're not even 12 races into the 24. We're basically there. It's tomato. We're there, okay? So let's look at the good, the bad, and everything else that has happened so far to, I don't know, just look there. Bahrain, for starters, got off to an absolute banging start. Lance Stroll in the first corner does what Lance Stroll does best. Would it be an opening race of the season if Lance Stroll didn't spin out? I don't think so. That's just what he's built for.
You can't park this, huh?
We also basically took a blast from the past back to like 2007, 2008, where Alonso and Hamilton were battling, but this time it wasn't for first or second, it was like for 7th or 8th. So I guess if that's what they want to be doing in their retirement age, then go ahead, have fun, but neither of you seem to be doing anything good. After Carlos Sainz has been banished from the Ferrari land, he has started a civil war with Charles Leclerc, or resumed the civil war that they had from last year and the year before. And midway through the race, I got so bored because Verstappen was leading, like he always does. It's a bit boring. I'm not sure how the guy who does the F1 highlight things managed to extend that to be like a 8-minute long video, because that was just, how have you done that? It was just a compilation of Max Verstappen leading the race. Anyways, I went downstairs to get a snack because I needed to entertain myself. My mother asked me, are the dishes washed? I responded with Alpine. No other words were spoken, and she knew they were washed because the Sauber pit stops, they take longer than Lando Norris took to win his first ever race. And Yuki Tsunoda has gone back to being the annoying little child on the radio.
Are you kidding me now?
Screaming and shouting and probably kicking his legs like kids do in their little pram. But Yuki Tsunoda this time in the car. And I guess he was kicking his legs because he might have accidentally mashed the throttle pedal and accidentally slammed into Daniel Ricciardo.
Max Verstappen wins.
But hey, same old, Verstappen wins. Yeah, well, on to the next season. Or what's the point of watching anything else? Now, after Austria, the championship battle is actually getting spicy. Mercedes might be cooking, but do you know who definitely is cooking? Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. Their rivalry is hitting peak temperatures, aka they're cooking. If you want to see a championship battle continue, then like and subscribe. Otherwise, it will not happen. Jeddah is and was race number 2, and to say that it was like, whoa, what an amazing race, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5 stars. I will 100% watch this back in like 30 years and be like, whoa, that was amazing. No, it really wasn't. Lando Norris at the start jumped the start, and George Russell, just like the fucking nerd that he is, he he put on his glasses. He was like, Lando jump the start, jump the start, Norris. And surprise, Lance Stroll somehow managed to end up in the barriers.
Okay, can you bring it back, Lance?
No, I'm in the wall.
I copy that.
Am I surprised? No. Did I expect somebody else? No. It launched all the way. That same weekend, Sainz had to get a weight reduction in his body because he knew that sooner or later Leclerc would be faster than him, and the only way to beat him is to be lighter than him. And in replacement, Ollie Behrman stepped in, puts Yuki Tsunoda into a spliff, pretends like nothing happened, and walks away. And that was the end of him for now. Magnussen has just started his reign of terror by pretty much ruining every single driver's race on the entire grid, and that started off with Alex Albon. And Daniel Ricciardo finishes the race backwards, like he has been for like the last 3-4 years, because everything has just been backwards around him. He was meant to be good, and now he's awful. It's just been flipped upside down, just like his car was flipped the wrong way around on the track.
Max Verstappen, eat, sleep, win, repeat.
Oh yeah, you can carry on yawning, yawn. Verstappen wins. Surprise. No, it really is. Why are we still talking about this? Why are we still watching this? Time to go watch golf. Time to go watch croquet. That's way more cooler. Australia started off like usual. There was nothing special to it. Verstappen pole position. We've seen a lot of those. Surely that's just another wrapped up weekend. Verstappen wins, pole position, bye-bye. That's... Wait. Is that smoke coming out of his engine? Oh, no, his car blew up. Not only was Verstappen the only person out of that race, but so was Lewis Hamilton. It was looking like the 2021 season. They're either 1-2, or they're both DNFing, because Carlos Sainz takes the lead. And that's all that happened that race until the final lap, when Alonso decided to brake check George Russell like you're driving on a set of Corsa and someone's pissing you off when they're tailgating you. Slam on the brakes and then they spin out and then they lose all the points and so on and so forth. George Russell went tumbling like a little ballerina into the barriers doing a couple pirouettes. And once he had finally stopped, he looked into his mirror, took a little glance and saw that Lance Stroll was behind him, or getting quite close to him.
Red flag, red flag, red flag, I'm in the middle of a track.
Because, well, Lance Stroll's on-track record wasn't the greatest. And who knows, Lance Stroll might not see a parked car in the middle of the road. But George Russell, you can't really park there, can you?
A Ferrari 1-2, headed by Carlos Sainz.
Ferrari 1-2? Are we going back to the Michael Schumacher dominant days? A 1-2? Oh, that's pretty good, right? Japan might have been one of the most boringest Grand Prix to witness. Nothing really happened. Albon and Ricciardo decided to go bowling in turn 1, lap 1, and, well, you're not bowling, that's a different sport. You're driving cars. Not only did Yuki Tsunoda decide to cook up and wait, I'm actually a good driver now, deciding to overtake Gasly in a spot where it's unheard of. Now, agreed, the Alpines are like turtles. But still, not only was Yuki cooking, but so was his team in the pit stops. And for once, Yuki actually had a nice message to say to his team. Like, well, kindness out of Yuki's mouth in the car isn't something that you expect every day. That's like Lance Stroll winning a race. It's not gonna happen.
Top job, guys. Top job.
And speaking of treacherous drivers, Sargent, he's back and his form is better than ever. In the gravel is where he belongs, and that was his humble abode, because that's where he ended up in the race. Just like he did in pretty much every other race where there's gravel on the track in 2023. And if there wasn't gravel, well, then he's just straight up in the wall.
Max Verstappen returns to victory.
And yet again, you can carry on yawning because you heard that Dutch anthem one more time, because Verstappen won. Again, and again, and again. Before the Chinese race even began, it was already kind of funny, because how was Hamilton qualifying P18? Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, qualifying P18. Are you okay? Are you forgetting how many races you won? How many pole positions, podiums? Have you forgotten everything? Have you forgotten how to drive? He was saved by Logan Sargent to not be in P20, and I guess, you know, you should probably be thanking Logan Sargent for saving even more mockery than there already was. It seems like every single race this season, it's been the Lance Stroll masterclass, whether it's been him spinning out, him crashing out, or him crashing into somebody else. China was no different under safety car conditions because Valtteri Bottas had an engine problem. The most forgotten moment in the entire season. How am I meant to remember that? It was so irrelevant. Lance Stroll decides to capoot into the rear of Daniel Ricciardo like there wasn't anything there, like ghosting was enabled. There's a car in front of you. Are you just like on your phone, not paying attention in your car? It's like that I think Ericsson hit us moment, but this time Ericsson actually hit you, right? Anyway, Magnussen is also back in China, deciding to terrorize more of the field, and this time his victim was Yuki Tsunoda, which he sent to the shops. Not like, as in, he had a great pass on him, it's just like he spun him round and sent him to the shops, like... Alonso for a second thought he was in Formula Drift, Tokyo Drift, something like that. He's not DK, he's not the Drift King, he's not even the king of Formula 1 anymore, or Ferrari, or literally anything. But do you know who is the king of Formula 1 at the moment?
Max Verstappen crosses the line to take victory.
Max Verstappen, he wins the race. You might as well just play the anthem for 2 hours. I don't care about the race. The anthem's just all you want it. Yeah. The Miami weekend starts off with more embarrassment for Ferrari. Not embarrassment as in they haven't won a championship in like 100 years since Schumacher or since Kimi or whatever. But their livery was like looking like a bloodied up Smurf. It's like if you cut open a Smurf and blood exploded on it and it was like blue and red and ugly. Like, what is that? Down into lap 1, turn 1, Perez got kind of mad that Verstappen's winning every race and he can't win every race. So in a little suicidal or terroristic fashion, he tries to take him out. But because he's so far back on the grid, he fails and just screws himself over. Verstappen is trash, hits a little cone on the track and crashes, and boo-hoo-hoo, Verstappen is awful. Time to get a new job. Maybe a teacher? Maybe? But yet again, Kevin Magnussen makes a return and crashes into none other than Logan Sargent and creates a safety car, and that safety car pretty much single-handedly gift-wrapped Lando Norris's first win.
Norris trumps Verstappen and wins!
Who celebrated that first win, just like all the wars in the world had just stopped. It's a win. Yay, you won a race. crazy. Verstappen is trying to hold back his tears that he didn't win a race, or didn't win that race, and that was Miami for you. You got to hear the British anthem and not the Dutch anthem for like the first time in a long while. So I guess that's a positive. And it was God Save the King. Rest in peace, Lizzie. God Save the Queen was low-key a bop, no? Now, before the race even began in Imola, Sergio Perez was in the wall. Euro Perez is back. Guys, the Perez curse has started yet again. And it started off pretty well because, well, he was in the barrier. He was also in the gravel in the race. Hamilton was no better, though, because he was also in the gravel. And Charles Leclerc was no better as well, because he was also on the gravel, on the grass, whatnot. So however much we can slander Sergio Perez, well, it's not slandering. It's like the truth. He is pretty awful. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Remember that. The race was also one of the most boring races that I've ever witnessed, but the final couple laps were actually intriguing. Lando Norris was trying to catch Verstappen, which had some problems. Red Bull are cracking. Oh my god. Red Bull dominance might be over. Lando Norris is trying to catch Max Verstappen, just like James Bond was trying to catch that bomb maker at the start of Casino Royale. It was intense. It was, oh, stuff might go down on the final lap, but it didn't.
But Max Verstappen will take back the top step. Max Verstappen wins in Imola.
Verstappen won by 7/10. Back again, Dutch anthem, woo woo woo. Yet again, Monaco. We're in Europe, right? So obviously Perez is going to be the European version of Perez that we see in Europe. And, well, to be honest, he actually was. Qualifying in like P18, not making it out of Q1. No, that is embarrassing. If I was him, I'd stay inside. I wouldn't even attend the race. What's the point? You're not going to finish in any decent position because you're P18. Now, yeah, Sergio Perez might have had a bad quali, but by Verstappen standards, he also had a bad quali because he crashed. It wasn't a bad crash, but he crashed. P6? That is shocking for you, Verstappen. I'd expect so much better. You're awful. Might as well retire. Now, Sergio Perez might have had a bad quali, but I guess he had a bad quali. You can sometimes try to make it up on the race. Monaco is meant to be an alright track for you. I mean, you've wanted it in the past, and crashing out on the first lap after the first corner, that isn't a good way to celebrate your contract extension with Red Bull, which you somehow managed to fraud. I don't know what you did. Did you put a gun to Christian Horner's head and say, sign me, or you're dead? Well, his car and Kevin Magnussen's car was also looking quite dead. So the Kevin Magnussen terror continued, and so does the Sergio Perez terror continue. The French are no longer having a revolution, but what is happening is a civil war between Gasly and Ocon. Ocon is back to being the Ocon that we all knew with Sergio Perez, the Ocon we knew with Alonso, and that happened.
Now, if I were in my car, I'd look at that space and go, well, that's too small, and then I'd go find another. But that's not what a French person would do.
Unbelievable, man. I don't understand what he was doing. Well done, guys.
Not sure why Lance Stroll was criticising them over the radio, because that could have easily been Lance Stroll doing the exact same move and crashing out, because that's just a Lance Stroll thing to do. Anyways, Esteban Ocon gets dropped because he's that shit, and that was the end of his Formula 1 career, full stop. Maybe not. Nothing happened for the next 75 odd laps.
Charles Leclerc wins the Monaco Grand Prix.
Charles Leclerc wins the race, breaks the curse, because he's crashed out of every other Monaco Grand Prix that we've ever had, or pretty much. I guess the Euro Perez virus has spread to different continents, because I thought Perez was only awful in Europe. But I don't think Canada is in Europe, unless you're learning geography from, say, an American school, because they don't even know where America is.
North Korea?
Germany? Is this Canada?
Anyway, lap 1, Perez decides to make contact with Pierre Gasly. Not too good for his reputation and his contract extension. Frauded. Logan Sargent, though, takes his spotlight for a couple laps and decides to bin it again, like he did in every single race in 2023. But no worries, Alex Albon, his teammate, can actually do something for the team and decides to cook the entire field and show everybody why he's one of the best drivers on the grid. That is until Sainz decided to suicide bomb him as well and crash him out, as well as himself out. Perez also crashed out on like pretty much the exact same lap as whatever that was, and well, he's back to terrorize the field. And as if we've had a lot of crashes already, Yuki Tsunoda decides to pirouette and nearly kill Nico Hulkenberg, but Nico Hulkenberg at his ripe age of 63 somehow still has faster reaction times than like a 7-year-old playing CSGO and tapping people's heads. In that race, Lando Norris had like a 13-second lead. In that race, George Russell could have won as well. They both somehow managed to fluff up the race win.
Max Verstappen takes the win!
And Verstappen wins the race. Again. It's now the Spanish Grand Prix, and McLaren now have the fastest car on the grid. Red Bull is no longer the dominant force that it was in 2023, and now it's the McLaren era, the Lando Norris dominant era. Surely, and by that, Lando Norris has fluffed so many wins this season. Surely, him starting on pole for the Spanish Grand Prix for the second time in his career, surely that means that he should be able to win. Now, the last time he started on pole, it didn't go to plan. But now he's a more experienced driver, and he should win. And he did win. Fight! George Russell decides to ruin his entire plan for the race and swerves around and in front of him, and then he loses out. So much time, and that was pretty much the entire race. Nothing really happened. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put. I'm recording this and then watching Q1 of Silverstone. I've looked over to my other monitor. It's literally Q1, 7 minutes 30, and Sergio Perez is in the gravel. Christian Horner is now shaking his head, and that's Sergio Perez out of qualifying, and that means that he will be 20th and last in Britain. So. Sergio Perez, and that's another masterclass from Sergio Perez.
But Max Verstappen wins once again.
Anyway, Verstappen wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Verstappen P8. That's the end of it. That's the end of the story. Perez is awful compared to... Lando fluffs the win. Again. Anyway, boo-hoo-hoo. Now, it's never a good idea to go 3 wide into any corner in Formula 1, but that's what 3 drivers, 3 wide, tried to do going into turn 1 in Austria. Wasn't the greatest of ideas, and guess what? One of those drivers was Sergio Perez. So, well, Sergio Perez. Charles Leclerc's race is screwed, and, well, that's the end of his race. Zhou Guanyu gets Brexit tackled by none other than Fernando Alonso, who has been slandering that Aston Martin team for the last couple of weeks because he's pissed, because he joined that team to win races and score podiums like he was in 2023 at the start, and now, well, he finishes P18. What a joke. Lando Norris and Max Verstappen are back to battling on track, back to battling. Amy Winehouse, ha ha ha. And honestly, the scraps are pretty good. They're pretty good moves unless they're going off the track like they were. Well, I guess they were going off the track every single second. But anyway, it was entertaining. The first actual battle for the win, which we've had for quite a while. And just like 2021, all the battles we had for the win back then, it ended in tragedy. For both of them, because neither of them won the race. Both had punctures. Lando Norris decides to go into the pits because he had enough. He cried a bit and said, oh, if Verstappen doesn't apologise, then I can't be friends with him anymore. But Max Verstappen, like the champ and warrior that he is, decided to go back on track and finish the race. Keep in mind, he had a puncture for half the lap, so he was going like slower than everybody else, like a lot slower than everybody else. And then he had a puncture, then he had to change the you had to change the wheels, go into the pits, change the wheels, and then he still managed to finish the race ahead of Sergio Perez. So if that doesn't highlight how shit Sergio Perez is, then I don't know what does.
And George Russell wins an amazing Austrian Grand Prix.
And Silverstone, I think it's time to pre-fire what happens in Silverstone, because that's happening right now. Sergio Perez, he's crashed in quali, like I said earlier, so he starts P20. And Lewis Hamilton and George Russell look like they're cooking. So, if this is correct, these are my hot takes for Silverstone. Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, they crash out in cops just like Hamilton. Verstappen and Leclerc crash in cops just like Hamilton and Verstappen did in 2021. And then Hamilton wins the race. And it's like, yes, British driver winning the British Grand Prix. Holy fuck. It actually happened. That's what happens. And if it doesn't, then I'm wrong. If it does, then I'm a genie and you give me the Silverstone trophy, because I deserve it. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, let me know down in the comments if you think that I've missed anything important. And whilst you're down there, you might as well like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video, because if you don't, then you're a fake fraud. Why don't you subscribe and like? Don't die, because then you can't watch the other videos, blah, blah, blah. Have a safe, fantastic, ready day. Don't die. A peace.
That's all, folks.